look at the amount of establishment media coverage that Patrick Brown is getting for being disqualified, it's amazing because I was removed from the Conservative Party leadership race halfway during the 2020 race, and I had to go to court. I went court, and I won the lawsuit and was reinstated, and they disqualified me a second time. And they just basically ran out the clock, the Conservative Party, to make sure that by the time the first court case was over, I'd have to put more legal money into a second case, and the clock would run out because the race was still going on. And you look, you know, Thomas Mulcair, the former leader of the NDP, wrote an article for CTV News the other day, and he claimed that the courts have said that political parties are under judicial review. And that was completely false because he was citing a case from 2017 that was later overturned by the courts. In fact, you can sue a political party. And there is a case that there's a precedent for that, and it's Karahalios versus the Conservative Party of Canada. I sued them over that 2020 race, and I won. And it was the first time in Canadian history that a private citizen had successfully sued a political party. And a couple of years before that, the Ontario PC Party sued me to try to bankrupt me with Patrick Brown as leader, and I won that lawsuit as well. So no other private citizen has ever been sued or sued a political party, and no one has ever beaten a political party in court. There was one other individual after in 2021 that took the Conservative Party of Canada court for an internal party race, and I guess I kind of broke the ice. But if you look at the media, they ignore the 2020 disqualification. They ignore my case even existed. And why are they doing that? Because, you know, the establishment media will talk about Patrick Brown because he's the kind of candidate they like, preaching left of center policies, but they don't want to talk about the fact that me with the Conservative campaign for leader in 2020, talking about axe the carbon tax, talking about integrity in the party, got removed and won in court. So I guess there's a lot to unpack there. Number one, can he sue and win? Yes, because I laid the precedent in Canadian history, and I put the proper legal theory with my team of lawyers, and we worked on it, and you can sue. It's not a judicial review. It is a private entity, a political party, but they enter into contracts. And when you pay a fee to enter a leadership race and there's a contract for that, you can sue and you can win. Now, the bigger question, though, is if you sue and you win and you get back in, they're kind of, the odds are stacked against you because they can keep making decisions, and you can't, at some point, you can't keep going to court to fight that off. And then the bigger question for Patrick Brown is, does he have the stomach? Does he have the courage to sue them and go through with it? And, you know, they've been taking a few days here. I don't know if he does. It looks like he's hedging his bets and looking at maybe running for mayor of Brampton. I did it. I won. They kicked me out again a second time. And, you know, they've got the levers of power at their disposal, and they can keep disqualifying people over and over. But there is a precedent to win in court. It just hasn't been done very often, if at all, Dave.
You know, that's very interesting, Jim, and I do stand corrected given your success. But as you said, they threw you out again, and they basically ragged the puck until the clock ran down. So right. I guess the old adage, you can win the battle, lose the war, I suppose. But in terms of the war with Patrick Brown, I think you're right. I think probably he's subscribing to a bird in the hand being worth two in the bush. He's got to make a decision by August 19th. Whether he's going to run for mayor again in Brampton. And one of the things that isn't getting a lot of attention, Jim, is the way in which this individual has been running the city of Brampton, a city he's had absolutely no affiliation with until 2018, where he thought he had a chance of being the mayor, and he did win it. And that is, Jim, there's in the last 4 council meetings have been canceled because Brown and his the councillors who are friendly to him do not show up to city council. So only 5 councillors do. That's one short of a quorum. And basically, as I understand it, the reason why he doesn't want to have the council operate is that one of the orders of business is to launch forensic investigations against him and how money is being spent at the city, how hiring is being done. I mean, Jim, I find this incredible. If he was prime minister, it's kind of like proroguing parliament because you don't want to take prickly questions in question period. What do you make of the way Patrick Brown has run the city of Brampton. And does that not speak volumes of what kind of a leader we would have in this country if, God forbid, this individual ever did become prime minister?
And you just summed up his record as mayor of Brampton, and there was plenty of items that you could have talked about in his time as leader of the PC party in 2016 and 2017, running up to that election in 2018. Why can't anybody beat Patrick Brown except for me? That's one question, Dave. Why can't the establishment of the PC party or the Conservative Party beat him fair and square in a race? Why couldn't they beat him for mayor in 2018? You had Nick Kouvalis and Richard Ciano and Michael Diamond, top advisors for Doug Ford. In 2018, their contribution to running someone against Patrick Brown for mayor of Brampton was to host a fancy fundraising dinner at the Albany Club for a Liberal who was running against Patrick Brown for mayor. And that didn't work out. So fundraisers at swanky events at the Albany Club are not grassroots organizing. And the PC establishment has a long history of losing outside of running a campaign in 2018 on axing the carbon tax or hiding behind COVID. So there is so much to talk about when you're in a campaign against Patrick Brown, whether it's his record leading the PC party, nominations that went sideways, that he didn't reverse into a democratic fashion, betraying voters, and now even more stuff as the mayor of Brampton. So the question is, why can't they just beat him in a democratic race? Why couldn't even Pierre's team or Roman's team or Leslie's team in the leadership talk about and debate this stuff, Patrick Brown's record, and make sure that it was an easy win? And why couldn't they stop him in 2018 when he was running for mayor? And I see Nick Kouvalis, Ford's pollster, he's, tweeting very aggressively. He loves the Twitter. He really talks tough, hiding behind the Twitter about how he's going to stop Patrick Brown running for mayor. I just don't think swanky fundraising dinners is the way to beat Patrick Brown.